The stream is up on my end.
I got it.
And it dropped for just a moment. Wait for it to get back up. Is it back up?
Uh, it hasn't gone down.
Oh, okay. Well then, because it's showing on the back end stream complete. I don't know why.
I mean, it's up. The live chat's going. Hi, guys. Sorry,
Okay.
dealing with tech issues.
Yes. They plague us all. Fortunately, there's nobody in at the moment according to the live chat count.
No, well, Dragon Rune's there.
Oh. Well, for some reason, it's not updating on my end. So I may have a problem reading the chat. Let me.
Do you want to restart?
Let me just refresh this the back end real quick. Why is it not? Okay, there we go. I was like, why is it not refreshing the? Okay, there we go. All right. So now that we have bored everybody into going to sleep in the first 15 seconds of our live stream, let's go ahead and get going. Hello and welcome to this week's Gilmore's Glorious Gossip, a show dedicated to Critical Role over on the Geek and Sundry Twitch channel. Welcome to everyone joining us live, and don't worry, if you can't stay, we will be posting this on Monday, as we always do. Enormous thanks to Akuma Mika at EmmaFrost91 for our updated logo. I have to say, her artistic skills are growing in leaps and bounds.
Yeah, man, you're improving so much. It's amazing.
Yes. Awesome artwork. I particularly love this one because it not only is it Gilmore, but it's also reminiscent of Matt's Q&A.
That is, yeah, yep.
So, but this week features 7 more amazing artists. The piece that you're seeing now is by May Leonard at Gamerwall Monocle, one of my favorite names over on Twitter. I mean, just saying Gamerwall Monocle. It rolls so easily.
So easy.
Yes. Later, you'll be seeing pieces by Chris Gutierrez at BullyArt07, all one word. Sam, Samaz KMA, SAMAZKMA over on Twitter. Jess at My2K. David Rodriguez at Third Clover. That's 3RD Clover. Tobias Rivok. And here's another name that's just so fun to say. At Tobiltop. 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 It's like you put on a fake Russian accent and it's perfect. And finally, a piece by Jonesy at drunken_pilot. If you'd like your art featured here, please let any of the show's hosts know via Twitter, either at Gilmore_gossip or our personal Twitters, or you can contact us on Tumblr, Gilmore-gossip.tumblr.com, or our official email address, gilmoresgloriousgossip@gmail.com. Do that, and we will do our best to get it on the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch us each and every week. I'm Akiva, found on Twitter at Akiva David, AKIVADAPHYDD. And joining me today is my excellent friend. Introduce yourself and let's have a party.
Hey everyone, I'm Jess, otherwise known as Crit Roll Sketch over on Tumblr, or you can find me at my Twitter at JessieLRLeaf.
Unfortunately, today Kalia and Kat are not able to join us, but they should be back next week. Nothing,
Yay.
nothing overly serious going on at the moment. So,
Just
if
busy.
my computer would respond, I could scroll through the notes.
Oh,
It would be helpful. There we go.
pre-show announcements.
Yes, the pre-show announcements. Sam did an infomercial for their host, Backblaze, and holy cow, is it good. It's just hilarious. So if you get a chance,
I have
make
to
sure...
draw.
Go ahead.
I have to draw Taliesin with just cord upon cords on his head.
Yes. That was just awesome.
It's just awesome.
There is also a contest going on in conjunction with Backblaze. If you sign up using backblaze.com/criticalrole, or if you have signed up in the past using backblaze.com/criticalrole, you are entered for a piece of art signed by the cast.
So cool.
Oh yeah. And for anyone looking for merchandise and such, there is a new shirt. They do have a few left, but I suspect they will probably run out pretty soon because it's awesome looking. So go check that
Yeah.
out as well.
The new t-shirts that they just put out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I ordered it, but it's back at home in SoCal, so I have to wait until the end of May to get mine.
Ooh,
Yeah,
such a long
I'm
time.
sad.
But that will bring us into comments from last Gilmore's Glorious Gossip. This week, the comment comes from John O'Brien here on YouTube. John says, I still don't trust JB. She still went along with the plan when she had ample opportunities to hint at the scam. That said, I hope she goes to Western to live with Wilhand. I have to admit, he does have a point, but it's one of those things where she was probably bullied into all of that. So
Probably.
I don't know. And she probably...
I mean,
go ahead.
Matt's just made us all paranoid, including the audience. So I wouldn't hold it to him if he made her betray them as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But, I mean, if she did go live with Wilhand, Wilhand could teach her how to be right. And,
Yeah.
as, was pointed out in later comments in the same chain, Wilhand would finally have someone to help with his grooming.
That's very true.
So, that brings us into our Talks Machina moments.
Oh yeah.
If you want to go ahead and cover that real quick.
I mean, there wasn't a lot at all. We just got a couple of stat updates on Laura's character items. So Fenthras got exalted and now has a bramble shot and oracle arrow that she can use twice instead of once. She also now has +2 AC on her Dragonhide armor, which also has cold resistance. I actually do forget, though, if she has had anything else. I wasn't able to catch that bit, but they talked quite a bit in depth about Pike and how she was. Sorry, my head.
It's okay. Take your time.
I lost my train of thought. I was talking about Pike, and apologies. Sorry.
No, that's quite all right.
There wasn't much. There wasn't much.
Yeah. No, I spilled my soda, so I had
Oh,
to clean that up real quick. So, unfortunately, I had to remove my headphones in order to clean it up.
it's fine.
But yeah, one thing I've noticed, especially when it comes to Talks Machina, it's getting less and less relevant, for lack of a better
Yep.
term. I mean, it's great that we have that opportunity to pose questions to the cast. Don't get me wrong. But without the focus like we have,
Yeah.
it just...
It's kind of just losing its compelling features, really, because I mean, it was nice to once in a while get like answers confirmed every so often on a Q&A.
When
And
you
that
can
was
stockpile
enough.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, even then, I mean, even if doing the show weekly, don't get me wrong, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't think the way they're doing it fits anymore.
Mm,
Like it's a great concept for the first few episodes, but without calling it back to the actual episode and discussing, maybe even just rehashing the events with the players or the DM.
yeah.
But I don't know. It's just it's losing a lot of its steam.
Yeah, I don't really even feel compelled to watch it, to be honest, anymore. Like I'll probably catch up later when it goes over onto VOD, but I don't think I'll end up watching it live anytime soon again.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave it to the chat and to the rest of you watching when we post this on Monday. I will be catching it on Tuesday, so we'll still have it next week. But after that, is this something you guys want to be updated on? Do you want us to keep doing the Talks Machina moments? So let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments down below. And depending on what you guys say, we may or may not continue doing them. So, but why is my computer so laggy right now?
It's okay. I can hop in on the episode if you want me to.
Hold on, I am shutting down some things in the background that hopefully will fix that. Let's close that as well. And that. And that should be everything that I can close. Come on, computer. Sorry for the tech issues, guys.
I can start, Akiva, if you want
Yeah,
me to.
please go ahead.
Okay. Um, so right off the bat, Matt was describing them going back to the trek back to Whitestone, but Laura cut in and said that Vex wanted to try and do locate object to find the diamond that fell because 1,500 gold is still a lot of money even to Vox Machina's terms since they're
Yeah.
so loaded now.
Oh yeah.
He reveals that it's 65 feet under the water. And Vex decides that she's going to get somebody else to go on ahead and swim who's much better at it. And she goes up and tries to get Keyleth, implores her to go down and get the diamond. Keyleth.
Oh, and the phrasing that Marisha used, I don't know if it was meant to be in game or not, but the other players pulled it into game later. If it was meant in character or out of character. Yeah.
Just did the Pocahontas dive off the cliff.
Now, at first, I was like, oh my god, you're insane. Then she was like, Matt described that the cliff face, it's not a sheer cliff, it does angle a bit. So she jumped out. She was going to hit the side of the cliff. But she pulls out a gust and pushes herself away from the cliff face. And I'm like, at that point I was like, okay, she might have a chance here.
I mean, if she turned into like a earth elemental like she did with Kedir, she would have been fine. Or if she had turned into uh, maybe a bird or some kind of flying animal, she probably would have been fine.
Yeah. And I would give her the benefit if she'd gone water elemental.
Yeah, honestly, I think she could have done it if she was water elemental.
Instead, she turns into a goldfish and
Yes.
says the phrase, I am a golden god.
Splat goes the Keyleth.
Yeah, she hit the rocks. A goldfish has a single hit point. Keyleth has 127 hit points. Now, in 5th edition, terminal velocity, which you would hit dropping 1,000 feet, you would get to, and the cliff was 1,500, but you get to terminal velocity, and the max damage that you can sustain from fall is 20d6. I'm not sure what it is in Pathfinder.
I think Matt was just, he probably had actually calculated how high the cliff was and amounted that to how many d6s he used.
Yeah, by the same token, Matt did tweet out that he forgot about the 20d6 cap.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, she landed in jagged rocks at terminal velocity. So I completely, I'm like looking at the total damage that he actually inflicted upon Keyleth, and it's completely reasonable. 367 hit points worth of damage. He does later say it was 325, but rewatching it 3 times, he first said 367.
Yeah.
Now, in probably the best light possible, Marisha, is a very good sport about it. Yeah, she's laughing. She realizes that this is completely her fault.
I mean, I was on the floor laughing. I
Oh
was.
yeah.
I actually walked away from my computer and just sat laughing in the corner because it was. I, she just died, and that was the most keyless way to go about it. Oh, I'm just gonna dive off a cliff and hit rocks at the bottom.
Yes.
Awesome. And it was completely within my power not to die, but I did anyways because of a stupid decision.
I am reminded of a character I had in a White Wolf game. I was playing a werewolf. We had gotten a bomb away from some technomancers. I went and buried it at the bottom of Puget Sound in Seattle, Washington. And when I buried it, I decided it'd be a good idea to pat the sand to make sure it stays in place. And this was a pressure sensitive bomb. My
Wow.
yeah, my character blew up. But for all of you new DMs or DMs that have new players, something like that would have been a good time for what I like to call a common sense check.
Hmm.
If it's obvious that the player is doing something that will get the character killed, have them roll an intelligence check with no proficiency. And if they get a 15 or higher, tell them you realize this is a stupid idea and this is why.
Yep.
So that they can either change what they're doing or change how they're going to do it.
That's smart.
Yep. But, yeah, unfortunately, my notes aren't updating. I can't see the chat, so Jessica, you are definitely going to have to take the lead for the rest of this episode.
That's fine. So, Marisha's laughing. Travis is laughing. Uh, Laura and Ashley are just looking at each other in shock, and Ashley's saying, "It's only 15 minutes into the episode, and somebody's already dead." Talison's laughing is just he's gone. Marisha is laughing. Matt's got his head in his hands, and everybody's just in complete shock. Then Laura eventually comes to her senses and uses the Revivify coin that Terry had given her right before this battle. And Matt didn't roll against her to check. He just had her roll a wisdom check and deemed that the DC was low enough and she had made it over.
Yeah, absolutely.
She rolled an 20 or 18 on it. I forget.
It was an 18.
18, okay.
But, for something like that, you don't want to be a butthole of a DM.
Yeah.
Know? So, definitely let certain things slide at that point.
Yeah. So Vex pulls Keyleth out of the water. As soon as she casts Revivify, all of her bones are snapping back into place, and it's not a very pleasant sight for Vex at all. And Keyleth comes back to consciousness with 1 hit point.
Yeah, and, Laura doing the fake gagging.
Yeah. And everybody, she comes back up with Keyleth while Vax is talking to JB, and everybody's just like, "Oh my god, what the heck happened? You're covered in blood."
Yeah, Taliesin did point out that the necklaces did go off just, briefly, just like a single beat.
Yeah.
And I loved the way Taliesin had Percy's reaction when he caught out of the corner of his eye the two of them coming up over the cliffside. So, how did the... Oh my god!
Yeah, exactly.
It was perfect.
Absolutely.
Or, oh dear Paylor was his exact phrasing, but still.
Um, Terry gives Keyleth his healing draught, which I don't think he really needed to do that. I mean, Pike has like 7th level heal, and I didn't think they were gonna, or not 7th level. Is it 6th?
No, she can actually... It is a 7th level spell,
Oh, okay.
heal.
Okay.
But, by the same token, she was at 1 hit point, and then got, I think, like 30-something hit points when
Yeah.
uh, when Vex cast Cure Wounds, and then another
6 kittens worth.
another 20 hit points from Vax when he did his Lay on Hands.
Yeah.
And I love how there was that brief panic for Vax. Liam pulled that in quite nicely.
Yeah, he did. Everybody's reaction was it was yeah, it was a really
It was on point.
yeah, it was very on point. Except for Travis, who was just laughing the entire time.
But that's Grog. He'd be laughing
Yeah,
about it the entire time.
Yeah. So let me see. Then we head back to Whitestone, where the Trickfoot coach is being searched. Or Percy is trying to decide whether or not to have somebody really sketchy search it, and in which he says, "I would like someone extremely sketchy to search." Oh wait, no, Vax, would you like to search this coach instead?
Yeah. Oh, and the shit-eating grin Taliesin had after he said that.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So they find basically next to nothing in the coach, and find out that the Trek folks haven't actually made it back to the city yet. And they consider having JB run the bakery with them.
Great idea.
Yeah, it actually really is.
But
I was very glad that they decided to do that, because it was don't know who was going to run the bakery while they're gone on their new journey that Matt's inevitably going to set them on.
well, yeah, and when they did get go check on the bakery and all that, they did ask, "Do we?" Or Sam specifically asked, Did we hire anybody to run the bakery?" No, no, they didn't. So there was a sign that said, "Closed, out adventuring." So.
Then, as they're actually going to the Slayer's Cake to go on ahead and have JP go through the motions and help them out a little, they find an older woman there, who introduces herself as Hilda, and she is apparently a woman that lives within Whitestone, in a pretty rundown shack. And her husband, who is a sailor, has been gone for 6 months, and she's basically broke and needs the money bad, and is asking everybody for a job seconds after she meets them.
Yeah, that was the hilarious part, because we have no holds bar on spoilers on this show, so I'm just gonna outright say it. Hilda was the cover name that Matt chose for the character that we critters helped him create.
I was so surprised he actually put it in that early. I did not think that Matt was going to immediately take our suggestions and put it in the game so soon. So as soon as he went for the baker, or the person standing outside dressed with in the baking outfit, I was like, "Oh, you're doing that now?
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay,
and
we're getting into it."
everybody in the Geek and Sundry chat and also in the Critters D&D chat pretty much had it figured out immediately.
Oh yeah, yeah, we knew shit was going down.
Yeah. Um, but the timing on it was perfect because literally seconds before Sam had asked, "Do we have anybody running the bakery while we're away? We need to hire somebody." Boom, there it is.
There you go.
I mean, you can't make that stuff up. I mean,
Yep.
they are making that stuff up, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, man.
It was just perfect.
It's almost as if Matt had it planned.
And to sell the cover of being Hilda even further, she had cream puffs.
Yep.
And Terry, of course, without even giving it a second thought, pops it in his mouth, while everybody else is very suspicious,
Cautious. Yeah.
cautious.
They have a right to be. I mean, it's somebody outside their bakery and they've been stabbed in the back how many times? Five, six, 7 times because they trusted for without like insight checking somebody.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
so everybody jokes about Terry being poisoned.
yeah. And he's like, "I'm going to die? Did you poison me?" Hilda, of course, being defensive and all that. Um, but yeah, the party talks with Hilda, um, finds out Hilda's husband has been gone for 6 months, and what he gave her to live off of while he was gone is depleted. Um, Vex and Keyleth offer to scry on Hilda's husband, so Hilda runs off to get an item of his to help, or to use as a focus. Um, while that's going on, Percy brings up alternative jobs, or an alternative job for JB, uh, helping out with the research, studying about the Marble of Death, um, saying that it would involve a lot of reading and that sort of stuff in the library, to which JB is just really excited about that one.
It's the perfect job, really.
For her, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But which kind of goes back to John O'Brien. Yeah, John O'Brien's comment before, in which, I mean, if you're giving JB that job and she's out to destroy Vox Machina or, you know,
oh,
uh,
absolutely.
yeah, and take over Whitestone, that's a pretty good place to be, studying about the thing that could totally annihilate.
Oh, yeah. But we'll have to see how that turns out. We get a little bit of a hint later on in the episode, but we'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
Um, so Hilda comes back with a gold chain to use as a focus, and Keyleth gets nothing from the scry. Which, since we had all figured at that point that Hilda was actually the Drow in hiding, um,
Is it Drow or Dro?
you can say it either way. I've
Okay.
actually the race was actually created by R.A. Salvatore, or
Okay.
Salvatore, or however you pronounce it, and I've actually had a chance to talk with him one on one at one of the conventions. that he went to, and you can say it either way. Dro, drow.
Mm.
It,
Okay.
it works either way. But um, the reason I bring it up is the question I had was, is the husband missing because of the Dro's intervention, or did she
Mm.
feed a false um, bit of information, and the real Hilda's uh,
Husband is
husband,
actually just dead.
well, not dead so much as not a sailor?
Oh, maybe. Or she doesn't have a husband at all.
Possible. I'm thinking it's also possible that he was in the guard.
Maybe.
But we'll get to that in a little bit as to where that came from in just a moment. Where that
Oh,
thought
yeah,
came
yeah.
from in just a moment. So they ask for references and that sort of thing. Um, and, you know, start doing a background check as any normal employer would do. And Travis just cracks up at that. We're doing a background check on our bakery employee in our D&D game. Is what I think he said. I know I put it in
Yeah.
the notes, but I can't see my notes.
Oh, yeah. No, you quoted it correctly.
Okay. Um,
Um, Laura said that Matt's burned us way too many times, and Ashley was exclaiming that the box still haunted her.
that stupid box we buried. Oh, that was hilarious.
Just, I mean, I wouldn't either, to be honest. The number of times Matt's burned them it's just,
Oh, I know.
they fall for it so easily.
I mean, in the dictionary, gullible is defined as vox machina. Most of the time, they're doing it to themselves.
Pretty much.
Um, so the party turns their attention to getting back to the castle, um, and there was that scene with Taliesin, him and Marisha. And
Oh, yeah, yeah.
what did they say? Because I know I put
Uh,
that in the notes too.
yeah. So Taliesin started with speaking of untrustworthy, JB, would you like to see the library? And Marish responded with, are you insinuating that JB is untrustworthy? Taliesin said, oh, absolutely, in the best way possible. I'm highly excited and think you're going to do very well. Marisha says, we like untrustworthy people. We're untrustworthy. It's good. Matt, as JB says, I know, I've read.
That cracked me up
It
more
was a
than anything else that happened this episode. For some reason,
beautiful moment. It was
yes.
absolutely amazing.
So while the others are heading to the castle, Vax and Vex, I believe it was,
Yeah.
went to check on Hilda in her house. Vax stealths up, looks in her window, and the house is pretty much barren. There's like a little cooking area, a single stool with Hilda sitting on it, just almost mechanically eating some of the uh, cream puffs that had been made. And there's a little pile of clothing, I guess, or
Yeah,
cloth
rags. Yeah,
rags
off to the side.
off to the side. Um, and after that, um, with I believe Laura was already bemoaning that they were assholes at this point. But they go off to talk with Keeper Yenin.
Because he was the one that Hilda had actually used for reference.
Yes. I think they had forgotten how, because Matt had said you guys finally get back to Whitestone in the evening.
Yeah,
So
basically just woke him up.
yeah, they went in and they thought or there was a little confusion on Laura's part because she thought the boy sweeping up and keeping everything clean was Keeper Yenin for a second.
That boy is always there, always sleeping.
Holy crap! My chat just came back.
Yay!
Yay! Felice Domnes is asking, Drows don't sleep, right? Actually, Drow are the only elves that require sleep. They
Oh wow.
don't trance.
Hmm.
They have been at odds with the normal elven nature for so long that they have to relearn how to trance if they want to do so.
Hmm.
But, anywho, and there go my notes. Scrolling all. Okay, it caught up. I can see my notes again.
Yay!
I don't know what tech trolls were attacking me, but apparently they've been vanquished, temporarily at least. Um,
Um,
go ahead.
so they woke up Yedin, but he was basically able to confirm that Hilda had lived there for 15 years, um, which is a very good alibi for this. Sorry about that. Did
Quite
not.
alright.
Jesus, my phone just went off the charts. Okay, I really need to remember to stop putting it near my microphone and not leaving it on silent. But it was a really good cover up for the drow to uh, have Keeper Yenin be the one to cover everything up,
Well,
or be her alibi, I guess.
if I had to take a guess, um, first, Steelajet says, "So you see me say it, Akiva. I pronounce Drow as spider worshipping freaks." I see it, Steel. I see it. Um, but if I had to take a guess, the Drow character ended up having at least enough levels in Rogue to get access to the assassin path where you have the ability to uh, do a convincing job taking over for someone.
Yeah,
You know,
probably.
studying your target, learning their mannerisms, knowing who they talk to, who they know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, um,
Which
but
kind of begs the question: how long was that drow in Whitestone in order to get all that info?
uh, in order to get all of that info, they'd have to be there at least 30 days.
Wow.
Which, probably I'd say a little bit longer because, watching Tyrion, watching Tyrion, seeing when they could, or when would be the most opportune time to get to him, um, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But by the same token, later on, Kareen does say, I've been looking for him for about 2 months.
Oh wow.
So,
I missed that.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's where I
But
forgot to
yeah,
go
that's
back and watch that part.
that's much later in
Sorry.
the episode though.
Yeah.
Um, so getting that confirmation, Vex and Vax start to head back towards the castle. The rest of the party goes to the library, and when they're in there, Pike's looking for children's books for Grog to continue teaching him how to read. Um, why?
Buzziness.
Hmm? Yes,
Buzziness.
Bussiness. Grog is just so cute.
Yep.
And then a few minutes later with the orchid.
Yep.
No, sometimes when those letters are together, they make a K sound. Oh, that's like a hidden rule. That's not fair.
Yep. To be fair, the English is it's not a very fun language to learn.
No. It is, if I recall correctly, it is the third hardest language, uh, actually, fourth hardest language on the planet to learn.
Yeah.
Japanese and the two dialects of Chinese, Cantonese and Mandarin, are the top three.
They are hard. I took a year of Chinese and I failed. I did masterfully failed that class. It was bad.
At least you tried.
I tried. It was terrible. I hated it. I don't know why I decided to do it.
Well, who knows?
Who knows?
Uh, so, Percy outlines the job for JB. Read through when you find any interesting stories, unexplained events, that sort of thing. Um, every time you take a book, you'll put a slip of paper with your name on it. When you find interesting events, mark them with a piece of golden thread, and we'll research further later. Um, so, after the explanation, they start to arrange for how, um, or not how, but where JB will be sleeping and such. Um, and they get into a discussion of making blanket forts with tapestries and blankets, and of course JB's looking around at all the tapestries like, I have a few ideas. To which Taliesin
Yeah.
hides 2 books of engineering. um, but
Grog did find a book for werewolves on Nat 20.
yes, well that I was getting to that. That comes up in a
Did
little bit.
Oh, that was later. I'm so sorry.
Yes. Um, but Pike confirms that she has night terrors,
Yeah.
which I can't blame her with all the shit that Vox Machina has been through. I'm fairly certain they all have night terrors.
Yeah, I would.
But Percy leaves them to getting settled in and all that, and Vex and Percy go check on the Marble of Death. That, and it was just after the Marble of Death scene that Grog finds the book on werewolves.
Okay.
Um, but it was hilarious because Taliesin was like, and all you need to do is have a human sacrifice as he's patting and petting Keyleth. Or Marisha. But yeah. Anywho, so they go down there and they're talking about what the marble is, and Matt reveals that in the research and all of that, the theory is that it's a siphon of some sort. It translocates an object or magic instead of destroying them.
Yeah.
So Vex decides She's going to use an oracle arrow.
Such a good idea.
Yes. Now, at first, I was like, is it going to work? I mean,
Me,
it's
I
an
mean,
anti-magic
yeah,
zone type thing.
and like I liked her theory that going outside and shooting from where the magic would take effect initially for her to see, I guess. Like, because it originates from the bow, not from the arrow, right?
The essentially the bow puts the spell on the arrow.
Oh, okay. But it works.
Yes, it works. It goes into the marble, out to where it's going, and Matt gives Laura a long whisper,
So long.
and then she, in turn starts telling Percy a bit about it, and Percy's like, there's got to be somebody that allows us to use magic to get a perfect recall of what was seen. So Matt tells everybody what was whispered, and in the Geek and Sundry chat, I don't know if it was in the Critters D&D chat, but in the Geek and Sundry chat, everybody had it pegged as the Shadow Fell, and I had to agree.
Oh yeah, yeah. Matt laid out the details perfectly as it's described in the DMG.
Oh yes, absolutely. So Percy rushes to tell Cassandra, waking her up. Um,
Somebody has an image of the meme where it's somebody bursting through the door like so and so, holy bleep, and
yes.
yeah, it was great.
Um, he wakes Cassandra up, tells her, and she gets a stone with a rune on it and talks into it, sort of like a walkie-talkie. Um, and
Ascend is it ascending stone? Is that what they're called, or a message?
it would be
Like,
ascending because sendings don't
yeah.
have a limit, whereas message does. A
Okay.
limit on distance.
Okay. I
Um,
was really happy that Alora left her with that
yes,
to just have it like a support system for her.
yes. Well, I mean, if my current theory, you know, is true, it makes sense because Whitestone was originally beholden to Iman,
Yeah.
but now that Iman is a democracy, I don't know how that all plays out, but it appears that Whitestone is retaining its autocratic society. So who
Yeah.
knows? But either way, they alert the study council and then retire for the evening. Now, when they retire for the evening, Vex talks to Percy about how the death of Keyleth at the beginning of the episode really rattled her.
Yeah.
Um, and not in the way I expected.
Yeah, me neither, actually.
And
I was really
go
I
ahead.
was surprised she mentioned like I didn't think about Scanlan at all.
Yeah, Vex became worried about Scanlan because if something like that happened to him, because he's not exactly the cautious type.
Hmm.
If something happened like that, who would be there to revive him? But did you see the look on Marisha's face?
Uh, I Not really, but I think I did filter in, or flitter in between the two of them. I might have caught something. She did. Because I looked over at her thinking that Vex was going to say something about Marisha or Keyleth, but she didn't, and I was like, wait, what?
It, so on my first watch through, that's what I was like. But then on the second and third watch throughs, I watched Marisha specifically because I had noticed that she looked a bit off before she went to the bathroom or
Hmm.
got up for whatever reason she did.
Yeah.
And she looked like she was honestly disappointed, maybe a little disturbed.
Yeah, that Vex, you think that, like, that since Vex wasn't actually thinking about her death?
Well, either her own death or, Keyleth's death. That, like, yes, it
Marisha
was.
didn't die, though,
Well,
Akiva.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was talking about Vex
Yeah, yeah.
and Keyleth.
Oh, Vex's death. Okay, sorry. I thought you
Yeah.
were referring to Marisha's death. Sorry.
No, no, no.
I'm
About
a bit loopy. I apologize.
quite all right. Um, but I mean, it didn't cause her. I mean, it would have been understandable for Vex to, at least from a lot of perspectives, it would have made sense to reflect on her own deaths. It would have made sense to for that to be a realization on how Marisha fits into the party or something like that.
Yeah.
But she just when Laura brought that up, Marisha seemed a bit upset that it wasn't something that was expected. It wasn't something that would have played into her relationship or the relationship between Vex and Keyleth.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I missed the mark on that one or something.
Yeah.
But but yeah, so after that they retire for the night, and the next day Allura arrives.
Yay.
Um, so Vex and Percy tell her everything, and Allura explains the Shadowfell to the party. And it's sort of the anti-Feywild, if you will,
Yeah.
where the Feywild is a pure nature version of the prime material. The Shadowfell is the pure entropy version of it,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty good explanation of it, really. Um,
Pretty much.
and for anyone who doesn't know, if you go to the Shadowfell, if you stay there for too long, it can turn you into a outright shadow, or it can imbue you uh, with properties of the Shadowfell.
Yeah.
Give you abilities that you can only get by living in the Shadowfell. Um, which got me thinking again, but that's a little bit later.
Yeah.
Um, so, there's a little bit of talk about Kima, and Vex notices a wedding ring on Allura's hand.
Yes. So happy.
Yes.
I kind of feel like I got robbed from a really nice wedding, but I'll take what I can get because that was amazing. I'm glad Matt did that.
Well, I can understand why the wedding scene wasn't there because Allura did say it was a private ceremony.
Yeah.
But I I don't know if Matt was just trying to move things forward or not. I felt like uh, there wasn't enough celebration of the marriage.
Yeah. Yeah, but to be honest, I feel like the fandom was much more celebratory about it than Vox Machina was.
Well, no, Laura wanted to go in depth into detail.
Laura did, yeah, but nobody else did. And I was like, come on, guys. Like, this is Kimo and Laura. They're your best buds. They're your gal pals. Come on.
Well, because Marisha had come back by this time,
Yeah.
um, and she was playing it as though Keyleth was out of it.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll get into it in the post game,
Okay.
but there were a few other questions and expectant looks of, are you going to go further into this? But Matt didn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a little bit out of character even for Allura. Because, yes, they did learn more about the Marble of Death, and now they have other avenues to research. But a newlywed is going to be excited about having just gotten married. A newlywed is going to want to talk about it. And
Yeah.
I think, and I feel like, I know it was not Matt's intention. Do not take this as anything against Matt.
Yeah.
Matt is a wonderful DM, a wonderful person. I just feel like that got overlooked a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
I felt like he kind of rushed through it, and I was
yeah,
really hoping that like just dropping it was enough for him, but no, no.
yeah.
Meh.
On the other hand, we here at Gilmore's Glorious Gossip would like to raise a toast to Kima and Allura. Wish them the best of marriages and all the happy things in life.
All the happy things. May no more dragons destroy your homes.
Yes. Drink a soda. um, so it's getting to be about noon, and the party realizes Terry has not joined the others. And I don't know if Matt had talked to Sam. Um,
I don't think he did.
all I know is that, for that morning, Tyrion would have said something.
Yeah.
But Matt and Sam seem to have some sort of understanding that Tyrion wasn't there. So I don't know if there was just a text of saying, hey, Terry's not there, or if they had talked about it before the show, as far as the day after everybody gets back to Whitestone, Terry's not going to be there, or, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that played
I'm,
out.
I mean, I think Sam appeared to be fairly clueless. Like everybody immediately turned to him as soon as he wasn't there, and they were like, "Sam, are you pulling us? Are you
Are you
pulling
pulling
another
another
Sam
Sam
Riegel?"
Riegel? Yeah. But, either way, there was some sort of communication that Tyrion wasn't there, because otherwise Sam would have spoken up on something.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, so they're like, well, what? Let's go check on Terry's room. And they find that Terry's missing, Dodie's turned off, and all of Terry's personal belongings and the top sheet of his bed are missing.
Which kind of makes me wonder: did the person, or I forget her name,
Kareen?
Kareen, did she teleport as soon as Terry got into the room before he took off his armor, or did she come when he was sleeping? Because if she did and she wrapped the blanket over him then, he was sleeping in all of his armor.
I think she got him uh, before he had taken off his armor, but after he had done his evening note.
Yeah.
Um, so Vex wants to check Terry's book. Percy agrees, and he's like, "I helped build this. I know where the latch is to open up the chest cavity." Matt has him roll an investigation check, and he finds the latch, but there's also a blue pulsing bead that is
Mm-hmm.
attached to Dodie.
Yep.
Um, Keyleth shows up with coffees, as does Vax without
Yep.
coffees. um, and Vex pulls Keyleth out of the room to try to do a scry on him. At this point, since the majority of people are out of the room, Percy goes ahead and pulls the bead off, and Dodie wakes up.
Dispel magic.
Turns out that the bead was a one-time use dispel magic to deactivate Dodie, and Dodie starts looking for Tarion. Dodie ends up going out of the room, and Vex tells Keyleth to use Dodie as a focusing object to scry on Tarion. And I liked how Keyleth brought up the fact that they had shown some reservation in trying to scry on Scanlan, but we're all for trying to scry on Tarion.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think the fact that there appeared to be foul play should have tipped her off.
Yeah.
Marisha was still playing up the Keyleth was a pile of jelly, 2 days before. So she's
Yeah,
still
she
trying to
was.
recover off of that. But
Yes.
yeah, we'll get more into that in the post game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Keyleth does the scrying and sees Hilda in the process of kidnapping him. Which led me to question, was Kryn using Hilda's situation to her advantage, or did Kryn set up the situation? Or the third option, we found out during when Vex and Percy had done the Oracle shot and all that, Matt revealed
Yeah.
one of the guardsmen had actually gone into the marble.
Oh yeah, that's right. That poor man. What made him give up his life so quickly?
I have no idea, but
That was.
I think once they realized, oh hey, it's a siphon, not an orb of destruction. You'll live through this. Why don't you
Did
go
they
on
know?
recon for us?
Did they know? Because I don't think that Matt specified
Well,
if they knew or not.
Matt had said, or when Matt had revealed the siphon thing prior to
Oh
him
yeah, that's
mentioning
right.
the guard. So I assume, and it's a leap of logic on my part, that they found that out before they tried sending a volunteer through. Because if it's just
Yeah.
an orb of destruction, there's no reason to try sending somebody into it. You know what's going to happen. Um, but and that's earlier when we were talking about Hilda, that was the third option that I was hinting at was Hilda's husband, the guard that went through, not really a
Yeah.
sailor, and Hilda made up that little thing.
Or correct.
So a Corinne, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Names.
Yes, names are our bane. Um, Yep. Felice asks, "What's the full name of the Drow NPC?" The only name that we critters gave the Drow was uh, was Kryn, K apostrophe RYYN. So, you know, Pike and Vex and Vax go and search Hilda's house, and they find the real Hilda.
Hmm.
Yep, all bound and gagged and all of that. Kind of sad, really.
Yeah. I wonder how long she been. She hadn't been like that for long.
True. According to the real Hilda, um, the Drow had only been interacting with her for about 2 weeks. But there's a lot you can learn about a person without ever having to actually interact with them.
Yep.
Um, had only been interacting with her for about 2 weeks and had only tied her up, over the last 2 days. So, who knows how much is real of the fake Hilda's story. But, um, through various scryings, they are able to determine that Kareen is carrying Tyrion eastward.
On
And is.
horseback.
Say again? Yeah, on
On
horseback.
horseback, yeah.
On horseback, and that they're likely on the other side of the channel already. Um, the nearest tree that they know of, or that Keyleth knows of, to where they're headed is in Draconia. So they ended up tree striding to Draconia and then using Mistwalk at dashing pace to head towards Terry's hometown, which I can never remember. Despite watching the episode 3 times, I cannot remember for the life of me what the name of his hometown is.
Neither can I.
It's like Dicehold. I don't know. Dicehold would be really fitting.
No. Yeah.
Dice hold.
Yeah.
Ba-dum-bum.
Don't you?
Um, so they end up getting to Tyrion's hometown before Kareen and Tyrion do. So they decide to Night Dragon Rune, your message has been heard. um, but they decide to set up an ambush. Corinne, seeing Pike in the road, acting like an old woman, um, starts to ride around the ambush. So,
I mean, it wasn't really an ambush because, they're in an open field. She probably saw them land because Matt described it as she was going to be upon them within the minute. And I was just sitting there like, okay, you're all acting like you can go in stealth. She's already seen you.
Very true.
It didn't feel like an ambush. And I
True.
Yeah.
But, You and I saw that.
Yeah.
I don't think the players saw that.
No, they didn't.
So they tried to set up an ambush. Corinne starts to ride around the ambush, and Percy, who had mysteriously said, "I activate the secondary function on diplomacy," fires a shot that makes no noise and kills her horse.
So cool.
Yes. He had to have had Tyrion's help with that.
That is so cool.
Um, so Tyrion and Corinne tumble to the ground. Vex fires a tangle shot and tangles up Corinne. And in a surprising move, she surrenders.
I mean, yeah, uh, I don't think it was that surprising, to be honest, because she probably had been watching Vox Machina for a while. She knew that they were pretty powerful.
True.
And then to suddenly have all of them suddenly start converging on her, especially with the one with the gun in the distance and then the two stealth twins of death coming in on her.
Yeah,
There was no way out of that.
true, but I figured she would have cut and run.
That, yeah,
Not necessarily tried going down fighting, but I thought she was going to try to run away.
yeah.
But she didn't. She just surrendered. So they discuss with Corinne a little bit uh, why Tyrion was kidnapped and what Corinne's deal with Terry's dad was, Howard. Um, and to cut a long scene short, they eventually convince Tyrion to allow Corinne to, return to Howard, pick up her pay, and Vox Machina talk with Howard on what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So they end up doing so with the agreement that Corinne will wait outside the house or outside the grounds for Vox Machina to complete their discussion so that they can do a favor in return for allowing her to get paid for this job, or instead of taking her out.
Yeah.
And we all know what that favor is.
Yeah, it's Scanlan.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly kind of conflicted because I do want to see how he's doing, but I also kind of agree with Vax in a way because yeah, it's his life. It's if he wants to come back, it's up to him. And
But, at the same time, I understand it. They're worried about the little guy.
I mean, he's family, and even though
I know.
it's
a
almost
complicated
exactly
situation.
like yeah, it's almost kind of like what Howard is doing with Terry. Not in the sense of what Howard was asking Terry to do, but in a way that he was worried about him.
I think of it more along the lines of, and knowing Vox Machina, this is most likely way it'll play out. They're going to have, oh, excuse me, got the hiccups. They're going to have Corinne find Scanlan, give him something or plant something on him so that they can scry on him easier. And he's still going to be able to go out and live his life, but they're still going to check on him, make sure he's doing okay. More along the lines of Keela's dad than Howard.
Yeah.
Um, but so they all show up in front of Howard, and the whole interaction between Tyrion and Howard painted a completely different picture of Howard for me than Tyrion's description did.
People are never as someone describes them as a lot of the time. So I
True.
was expecting there to be some form of a twist, but I did not expect Howard not to have informed his son that, hey, you took all of our money and now we're broke.
In addition to that, I was expecting somebody who was straight up abusive.
Mm. Yeah,
And
I
there
actually
was,
was too.
yeah, and there was none of that.
No.
So, what we find out is that Howard and the Darrington family are up to debt, or up to their eyeballs in debt. Um, the solution that Howard has is to marry Tyrion off with a not necessarily competing family, but a well-to-do family, and use their money to further the family name.
Um, uh,
Now, obviously, that idea doesn't sit well with Vox Machina or Tyrion, especially Tyrion, considering what we know of him.
yeah, that's not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm. I was. I had I was kind of hoping that this wasn't really going to be that Howard really wasn't going to be that much of a
You can say it.
wasn't
He was a
even gonna
dick.
say, yeah, it wasn't gonna be a dick and suggest it, but no, he totally confirmed what Terry told us about him, and
Yeah, that he was
yeah,
he was more about the bloodline and the family name than he was about his children.
yeah, that's a dick move. You don't do that to your kid, yeah,
Yeah.
especially no after you've either killed or thrown the guy that he loved in prison, which I was surprised didn't get brought up at all in this episode because I really want to know where Lawrence is
Yeah.
now that we're here.
Uh,
I hope he's okay.
yes. Absolutely. Um, but the thing that got that pissed me off about Tyrion was that Tyrion did take all of their money.
Yeah, yeah, that he just didn't really have any kind of he had no notion that he what he was doing was wrong though.
True. I
So
mean,
I can kind of forgive him for it, but at the same time it's like yeah, you kind of screwed over your family. It still is kind of your fault, but it's also partially your father's fault for not having told you.
very true. While I can understand not informing younger children, when it comes, or when your children are coming of age, especially in a society like it is on Exandria, where you know children literally take over family households and businesses, and literally carry the family name, which doesn't happen as often in modern society for us.
Yeah.
But at that point, you really want to keep them informed about what could be affecting them.
Yeah, that's just irresponsible parenting right there.
Absolutely.
Not a good parent at all.
So, but I don't think it's going to what Vox Machina has planned is going to go well either.
No,
So
no.
Howard is the specific group that Howard is indebted to is essentially the northern version of the Clasp.
The class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they called? The Syndicate
Uh,
or something like that.
maybe.
Um, but yeah, so Vox Machina wants to go confront them.
Bad idea.
Very bad idea.
They're also, don't they also have ties with the Briarwoods? They had ties with the Briarwoods, right?
Possibly. Probably.
Probably.
But honestly, what I think the best plan of action is, and it does involve quote unquote confronting the syndicate or whatever they are. More along the lines of take Howard and Marion, go. Oh, the Myriad. The chat is telling me Felice Domnes and Scott Graham both, and Steelajet, all informed me that it was the Myriad. Thank you. So take Howard and Marion, maybe Mary if the mom is still alive, but I don't think she is. Sorry for the phone ringing in the background.
No, it's okay.
But I think they need to take the Darrington family, go to the Myriad, and say, hey, all their lands, their titles, whatever else they have, is yours. Leave them the clothes on their back. And then take the family to Whitestone.
I think, yeah, that's actually, if the Myriad doesn't demand anything else of them, I think that would be probably the smartest move, is to uproot them from the city they're in, because then that takes them out of a harmful environment of citizens that now would want to do them harm on the streets.
Yes.
Because of what they were doing to them and taxing them so much.
Yeah, and it also solves the bakery problem. I'm just saying.
Hey! But will Vox Machina think of that? No!
No, they won't. Unless, of course, they're listening to Gilmore's Glorious Gossip, which we can only dream. Because if they do, they don't leave comments. They don't talk in the chat.
No, they don't. They don't. Matt's only listened to us once. Right?
I think so. We don't have confirmation.
Oh.
But they do know we exist. We know that.
Yay!
We just don't know if they listen or have listened or whatever. They're aware of the various podcasts that go on. I just don't know if they listen to us.
We'll fix it. We'll make them watch.
Yes, I can see it now. We're going to have a Navy SEAL style raid and strap them all, or kidnap them all, strap them down, and have them watch our episodes. Yeah, because that'll really work.
Yep. Or just barrage them on Twitter. Like a proper internet troll.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Encourage them to watch, definitely, but don't troll them about it.
No.
Please.
No, never troll them. Never do that.
Yeah. But Terry decides he's going to look in on his sister. And before they can get to that particular scene, Matt goes ahead and wraps up the episode. Um, so it brings us to our wrap-up thoughts. And what a this episode was a very subtle doozy of an episode.
Yep.
Like, it brought up a lot of good questions.
I have lots of questions.
Yes. And not questions that really can be brought to Talks Machina. For at least for my questions. We're going to have to wait to see how events unfold. Steal a Jet saying next MagFest I'll do it. In reference to the mentioning trying to get them to watch us. Oh, these hiccups! They're painful when I'm trying to laugh.
Oh no!
But thank you for the thought, Steele. It means it. You guys don't realize how much it means to us to have you guys here with us.
We love you.
Yes, we really do. I mean, nothing would be possible without you. So, don't worry, Akuma. Akuma Mika came in late. Thank you again for the amazing logo. But don't worry, you know us. We post it on Mondays.
Yep. So we were singing your praises.
Yep. And actually, while it's still live, and for at least a few hours after it's live, you can always rewatch it from the beginning.
Yep.
So, oh boy. Steal a Jet wanting to do a SEAL Team 6 raid at MagFest. No, Steele. Don't go to jail on our account. But, so, yeah. Into our wrap-up thoughts. More than usual, Marisha seemed out of it to me.
Yeah. Either she had too much to drink or there was just some kind of high she was riding off of. But, I mean, I'm not going to blame her for it. She learned her lesson early on in the episode, and there were a couple of awkward moments, but it's her game. Let her have her fun.
Absolutely. Now, at the end of the game, after they had ended the game and were saying their last pieces before signing off, Marisha responded to a lot of the Twitter things that had been sent her way.
Yeah.
And I want to say I love the critter community because her response was not someone who was ticked off, was not someone who was upset because they were receiving a lot of hate. She responded to clarify that, her actions at the beginning of the game were not a cry for help. Nothing is going on, everything is okay. And she responded that way because there was a lot of love and concern coming from the community through the Twitter and the chats.
Yeah.
And I loved seeing that.
We thought people were going to be yelling at her, but everybody went the opposite direction. They were like, Marisha, is everything okay? Can we help you? We love you.
Yes. But, maybe she's just really busy, really tired, and has her own ways of relaxing and such that You know, because I've been noticing in a lot of the interviews, and I mean not so much the Q&As, but in a lot of the interviews and just chill talking, not talking about Critical Role, just chatting about the day, chatting about work, and that sort of thing. Marisha's very down to earth and very intelligent with her responses.
Always.
When it comes to Critical Role, when it comes to playing Keyleth, that's when the ditzy side comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm getting the feeling that, you know, her form of release, her form of relaxation is that escapism of, you know, playing at being the ditz.
Yep.
Um, and
But
go ahead.
the actors, everybody else actually noticed it too, though, because they were looking over at Keyleth, and even Marisha, with really concerned and strange looks.
Yeah. I one
Which
thing
also made me think. Oh, keep going.
one thing that you know prompted me about her possible drinking. Um, Before the break, she got up to use the bathroom, and then after the break, she got up 2 more times to use the bathroom. And I assume that's
Yeah.
what it was, judging from the way she was bouncing just prior to getting up.
Yeah. So.
Um, and as a college, or back in the my college days, way back in the days,
We're back in the days.
get me my Geritol. Anyway, um, there was a phenomenon we called popping the cork. If you're drinking, you're fine until you go to the bathroom that first time. Then you got to go every 20 minutes afterwards.
Basically.
um, and I don't know if that was a reflection of, you know, how much she had had to drink or whatever. Um, we love you, Marisha. Everything may be, you know, okay, but we're still concerned.
Always.
We're not trying to throw hate. We're not trying to intrude. We're just expressing our concern. So, but, you know, don't, anybody watching this, don't go prying into her private life. It's fine to say, hey, you know, we feel that these actions are negatively impacting you. We have concerns. But if she doesn't respond, doesn't, you know, or tells you it's not a big deal, we are too far removed from her private life to do anything more than just say, hey, you know, we have a concern. It's up to her, you know, to Matt as her fiance. It's up to
Yeah.
that. And, you know, Steal Jet does bring up another possibility. Steele says that I feel like she has mentioned having social anxiety disorder, which means she might be taking medications for that. And if so, as Steal Jet also, you know, continues in the chat, it could be meds because they can affect you that way. I'm on, you know, antidepressants. Yes, they really can affect you that way, and, you know, but
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt to let her know that we are
Care.
that we care and that we are watching out for her. So there is another possibility that I thought was maybe she's trying for a comic relief role with Keyleth now that
Yeah.
because Scanlan was always that comic relief role. Tyrion, when he started, was the comic relief role, but he's moving into a more serious role.
Yeah, uh, to be honest, I don't think it works. Like the moments that Keyleth is awkward, like it worked early. It worked on early on because Keyleth did it spur of the moment and at really good times. But here it was all really inopportune, which might have been just her playing into the oh shit, I just died and I'm dealing with the trauma of that in the best way I know how. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
everything seem funny.
Like I said, it's her character. She's going to play that character how she wishes.
Yeah,
Um, it felt more forced,
it did.
and she really felt a lot more distracted. Not Keyleth, but Marisha. It felt like
That's true.
Marisha was more distracted this episode than in previous episodes.
Yeah.
So, but Steal Jet does also add to tell her we love her. We do, Marisha.
We love you.
So, but that is going to bring us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button and make sure you click on the subscribe button to catch us each and every week. If you have any D&D questions, send them to us on Twitter using the hashtag DMs Corner. That's DMS Corner. If you want to submit art, please contact us via Twitter. I'm at Akiva David, AKIVADAPHYDD.
I'm Jess. Or at Jesse L. Leaf, my bad. Sorry.
Well, we hope you enjoyed, and until next week, kick back, relax, enjoy your games.
Have a nat 20 day and may all your hits be crits. Catchphrase, catchphrase. I'll see you on the internet.
So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.